Rydell, good morning again. My name's Nicola Barnes. Some of you might have just seen me. Just to remind you that Welsh subtitles are available. You can ask any questions for this interview using the Q&A box, and this session is being recorded. So thank you for joining the second session today. I'm here today with our graduate videographer and editor for RCT Council, Charlie Phillips. So Charlie, thank you so much for coming today. You do work as part of our team, so it's nice to interview you as part of our team. So first of all then, videography is a relatively new job title. And I know since the pandemic, lots of companies are looking for different ways to engage with the public other than face-to-face. So this type of job, you know, putting on virtual events, virtual job fairs is becoming more and more popular, and they want people who are obviously talented in this area. So first of all then, Charlie, what is meant by videography, and what is a videographer?
Thanks for that very nice intro, Nick. So a videographer is basically the most fancy term you can use to say cameraman. So I'm essentially a camera operator. So I shoot video, I edit the video that I shoot as well, along with a load of other skills included in that as well then.
Thank you, Charlie. So like I just mentioned, since the pandemic, you know, companies, RCT included, want to sort of engage with people. They can't do that so much face to face. So they want to send things out over the internet. They want to send videos. They want them to look professional, sound professional. So like you said, it is being a cameraman, but you do a lot more than that, I'm sure. So what does a typical day or week look like as a videographer?
So a typical week always changes, especially I started this role in November when I came into RCT, and then I was at a few weeks where I was out of film, and then we went into a big lockdown again. So things are always changing. Say a standard week for me, say I haven't got many restrictions, is normally we try to go and shoot a video. There'll be, you know, we try to get stuff done pretty quickly because an ideal happens like, well, let's get the ball rolling on this. So say I was going to go shoot, is organising the shoot, organising the date, organising the location, and then organising who's in the video. Going to shoot that video normally takes a day, may take a few shoots to do it, a few different locations, and then from there we go back in and I crack on with the edit then. So I get an edit done, and there's normally probably about 3 or 4 versions of the same video gets edited. So I'll edit the video, send it to my managers. My managers will have tweaks and there'll be conversations about changes, things that need to be added, things that need to be taken out. So I'll go back and again rework it, send it over to them, and this is done a few times. So then there's a lot of communication involved. There's a lot of working as a team and communicating with different people, different stakeholders, just to sort of understand what comes out at the end of the video, because someone comes to you with an idea and then your idea is completely different and you edit something like, actually we want to capture this or we want to capture this. So it's important to have really good communication. So in a standard week is normally ideal. My ideal week really is get at least one shoot in, get a good edit in, a lot of different admin involved as well, a lot of communicating with people, speaking to different people involved in the video, organising locations. So yeah, there's a lot goes into a week really.
Thank you, Charlie. Yeah, I suppose it's like sort of two sides really, because I know you're not the type of person that wants to be on the computer for 8 hours a day. You like to be out and about. You're quite active. So the shooting part, you could be anywhere. You're obviously setting up the area that you're going to shoot. You're moving things about. It's very physical, very hands-on. But then you've also got the admin side where you said that you're editing, taking phone calls, listening to what people want, sort of being creative as well to try and get their idea in. So yeah, it's two sides really. It's quite computer focused, but then is obviously very much out on the field.
Yeah, it's good to have a balance as well, and understanding that there is a really big balance in the role. The role is so interesting. Being a videographer is brilliant, and I love what I do every day, to be fair, because is what I've wanted to do for a really long time, and having the opportunity to do is great. I think finding that balance is so important because as much as it is communicating with people, is also arriving on location fully prepared, having all the kit ready, batteries charged, everything set up, knowing in your mind when you go into a shoot, okay, this is exactly how I want it to look. this is exactly how I want to set up. This is how I want this to be shot. I want this person in this location. How I want to light it. There's a lot of smaller aspects that all add up to make, you know, one video, because there's a lot of fiddly bits that all have to, you know, come together quite nicely to make the video what I intended to be, really.
Yeah, like I said, lots of things behind the scene, you know, like you said, about charged things, you know, the lighting, all those little bits to get our image in your head actually a reality in real life. So why did you decide to enter this line of work?
I think the most brutal answer is I did a work experience when I was in year 10, and I was in an office, and I really didn't like it. I was really, really bored all week, and I was like, I want to do something that's fun. And I always enjoyed film, and I always enjoyed television and sport, and I think I kind of tying those things in. So I was like, okay, what can I do from here that I enjoy doing every day? And I think the big thing I was always told by my grandparents growing up is like, do whatever you want to do, just enjoy what you do, because you're going to do it forever. So I think finding something I really love doing, I really was involved in, and I really wanted to progress in was so important. I think having a realization like being sat in an office all the time isn't for me. It is not the type of person I am. I like to be active. I like to be out there. I like to be communicating with people. So finding something that tied in all of my interests, and then also the skills I already had, like being a good communicator and understanding that I had good skills in certain areas. Okay, so where do these skills work? Where these sort of soft skills naturally work in the world of work?
Yeah, that's so important, and where they work, but also that sector is obviously growing as well. So you're gonna find work in this area that you have got a talent in as well. And that's really interesting. You said about your work experience, and you know it wasn't for you, but in a way, I bet you're glad that happened, because that experience there wasn't wasted, because you saw then, right, that's something I don't want to do, so I'm going to do something about that now, and I'm going to see what I actually, you know, do want to do and what I'm going to enjoy for the future.
Yeah, I think that was so important. I think it's so important trying everything. You know, I've done a degree and I've been in university, and I think I've had loads of different jobs. I've worked in retail, I've worked in bars, and I've worked in restaurants. And doing a lot of different things, even if it's completely different than what you want to do in the long term, is so important to build in a lot of different skills and building experiences, because no matter what line of work you're in, you can sort of turn the skills you built in somewhere else to show in the line of work you want to go into. So, you know, I'm a good communicator, and I've done this because I used to work in a shoe shop, which is important to communicate with different people, members of the public every day. And then from there, it kind of comes back to, well, I'm a good communicator, so I bring that into my other job. So I think it's so important having an experience and doing things that, you know, even if you aren't enjoying it, you're like, well, I'm getting something out of this because I'm progressing in myself. I'm learning a lot of new skills, and I'm understanding that actually this isn't what I want to do, which makes you concentrate on what you want to do more.
Absolutely, like you said, no experience is wasted. So you mentioned skills and communicating, meeting people. What are the most important skills to be a good videographer?
There's, as well as the obvious, which is, you know, being a good at what you do, being a, you know, good shooter and a good editor, which is a massive part of it. I think you don't realize how much goes into the people skills, being able to talk to people, being able to understand, being able to problem solve, being able to work as a team. They're so important, because when you're making a video for someone, there may be, you know, 12 to 15 people, if not more, all chiming in, giving different ideas, and being able to take in those ideas, and then also being really realistic about people's standards. Someone would come to me and say, oh, we want this, this, and this. And I'm like, well, we don't have the budget or the kit for those sort of things, but we can alternatively we can do this. And it's all about, you know, that problem solving side, is that managing expectations of people, solving the problems as they come to you. I think there's a lot of that comes into the role. Like I've mentioned about 5 times already, like communication is so important, because you are, as well as communicating via Teams or in meetings or via emails, you communicating face to face when you get to a shoot, and being able to be the calming element in that shoot, because a lot of people will be coming on the camera for the first time and being able to be really calm and sort of explain to them and take them through step by step. So it's really important to have those sort of really nice communication skills to make people feel as relaxed as possible in what they're doing.
Yeah, that's so important. I think we've all been thrust into this world since the pandemic about, you know, being on team meetings and being on the camera, seeing ourselves on camera. And sometimes it's not always as we imagine. And I'm sure, Charlie, you get people saying, right, I'm not happy with how I am in that film. And then you've got to sort of reassure them and communicate positively. So you did mention that you are a graduate in RCT Council. So what is, you know, being a graduate videographer and editor all about? And how did you get to do that pathway to obtain your job?
So obviously, graduates within RCT need to go to university first. So I did my undergraduate degree at University of South Wales, which was in media production, which is a course that still runs and I have a lot of good communication with. And it was a really interesting pathway for me to take because it's a very broad understanding of media generally. So I got to have loads of experience in loads of different areas of the media, which made me really understand what I want to do. Then I did my master's degree, which was in sports broadcasting at Cardiff Metropolitan University. That was amazing for me because I got to try a little bit more of a confined field, but also got a really understanding of a deeper understanding of the more professional side of the job. And then coming into RCT Council, then I applied for the graduate role in probably about August last year. And then I interviewed for it and then ended up getting the role as the videographer for the Employment Education and Training team. And I think having experiences is so important to the role and gaining those experiences. And then being in the role itself, there's a lot of different things that you learn. You're on a project management course, which is so important because you get a recognized qualification. It's completely paid for. You know, you don't have to worry about any of that, but you're also gaining really valuable experience. And also the council gives you real opportunities to grow. If I ask for a certain type of training, there's always, we want you to, you know, excel in your role. We want you to push forward. We want you to improve all the time in what you're doing, really.
Thank you, Charlie. Like you said, you came in, you did a degree, you did a master's. How would anybody sort of pursue a career in videography if they didn't want to go to university? What advice would you give them?
I think not wanting to go to university is, if anything, a little bit more of a popular path at the moment for videography and being on the creative side of things. There's so many apprenticeships available. There's plenty, especially in South Wales. We're so close to Cardiff, and there are massive studios in Cardiff, just outside of Cardiff as well. Coming to the valleys, there's loads of different videography companies and production houses, basically, you know, from Cardiff all the way up. So I think there's plenty of opportunities available, and there's opportunities available on your doorstep, really. There's always, the big thing would be is trying to pursue different areas, work out who's in your area, what jobs are available, and just sort of applying and communicating and sending emails and saying, is there any jobs available at the moment? Is there any apprenticeships ongoing? There's the field of the media field with apprenticeships is growing pretty quickly because especially since I've been in university, I've seen there's so many more opportunities now within media and because it's such a growing space anyway, that there's always opportunities to get involved. I think if you're one of the very lucky people who has their own kit, I think just going out and shooting things, you know, I use my phone a lot for shooting now. I think iPhones and Androids and everything, you know, the camera in that is equivalent to some of the kit you can buy for thousands of pounds, and going out and going, do you know what, I do enjoy doing this, so I'm going to go make something with some friends, or I'm going to go make a short, or I'm going to go do this and that. There's plenty of free editing software online. There's, you know, you can use your phones and just shoot things, gain experience shooting things, and then look at apprenticeship schemes and jobs and see if there's anything available that doesn't need a university pathway, because there are plenty of opportunities out there. But I think it's so important to start gaining some experience before you do that as well, in like going and making your own little projects. You know, I want to go make a short, or I want to go make, you know, a little video for someone, or go make a promo video. There's so many opportunities available for yourself if you just spend a bit of time trying to do these things and go in. I really enjoy this, so I'm going to really try and do this.
Yeah, that's really good advice, Charlie. You mentioned as well, you did your masters in sports.
Yeah.
So there's a vast range of interests, I suppose, within videography. That I suppose there's the news, there's sports, there's lots of different things. So it's really finding what you were interested in as well.
Yeah, I started my degree really wanting to go into news, and I think when I started my my undergrad, I want to go into news. I want to go into news broadcasting. Weirdly, I was quite into. I wanted to go abroad and shoot abroad, and that's why I was really into doing looking at different opportunities to do that. But then, as I did my degree, I sort of fell out of love with that idea because I was like, that's not really what I want to do, and that was kind of the advantage of doing such an open undergrad, is that I got opportunities to try different things. So I got an opportunity to try music videos. I got to do live concerts. I got to do, stuff with sport, but then I also got to do short films and features and work with different companies. So I think gaining that sort of understanding, because that's what a master's degree does, is that it specializes you, it makes you really you find something you really like and you go, okay, how can I further educate myself in this area? And that's how I sort of found the master's course, that I knew I wanted to do sport, and I was like, how do I get into sport? How do I get in this area? And I was looking at it, and I was trying to find the different pathways, and I saw that there was a master's degree available. So I was like, okay, this makes sense for me to go and specialize myself further in this area. But then, like you've said, there's so many opportunities, and they're getting more and more niche now as well. There's tiny little areas that people are looking for videographers. Like my friend has just gone on to, within sport, within sailing, he's now looking at working for a sailing team, which is doing like the Volvo tour, which is it brings the niche gets smaller and smaller the more you get into it, really.
That's really interesting, Charlie. Lots of different opportunities in different areas of interest as well. Like you said about your friend, he's doing a contract maybe. So videography is a job that is a lot about freelancing and doing these small short-term contracts. You were obviously employed by the council, so you are on a contract. You get paid monthly. What are sort of the positives and maybe the negatives about that type of work, as opposed to what maybe we would associate videography with doing certain projects?
I think freelance is, the big one in videography. I think it sort of will change a little bit going forward. I think a lot more people will be starting to look at in-house, because they realize having somebody in-house, having a videographer in-house, is actually a lot cheaper for companies to have. It's quite expensive to have someone as a freelancer, but then, the advantage for me is that I'm on a contract, I've got a lot of job security, and I'm in my role and I know how long I'm in my role. Whereas freelancers, the work comes and the work goes. In the pandemic, there was obviously a lot of government support, but I know a lot of friends lost out on a lot of work, lost out on a lot of different projects that they had going on. So it's kind of finding that balance. But I think one of the biggest advantages for freelancers is that you do get to have a lot of different opportunities. You tend to meet more people. The pay, the thing is with that is the pay tends to be better, but there's a lack of consistency. So, you may get paid better per day being a freelancer, but the lack of consistency as a freelancer is one of those things. But I think as you gain experience, you gain clients, and you work with people, repeat work always kind of happens. And then people always look for things called commissions. So you'll be commissioned to make, say, 30 videos. So my friend worked for a political party in the last Welsh election. He had a commission, he had to make 30 videos, and he charged, I'm not sure, a few £1,000 to make 30 videos. And that was his job, and he literally went out and shot, edited the videos, and was getting paid per video. Didn't get paid per video, didn't get paid per shoot, got paid a big bulk of money to do all of it. So it's sort of like having that sort of consistency happens within it, but a lot of the time is single jobs and single roles. And also, one of the disadvantages for freelancers, you do need a little bit of, quite a bit actually, a financial backing. You need to have a few quid saved up to go and buy your own kit and have, tripods and lights and all the things that you'd be expected to arrive at a shoot with. Whereas when I joined the council, kit was purchased for me to make sure the role was being able to be completed correctly.
Thank you, Charlie. So You know, there's lots of different positives and negatives really about your situation, you know, if you've got bills and different things. So for young people, you know, that could be an opportunity that is more accessible really. So what are the best bits about your job, and maybe what are the most exciting experiences you've had as a videographer?
I think the best bits about my job is the fact that, especially in this role, I get a lot of autonomy to be really creative. I get a lot of like an idea can come to me, and I can have a conversation. I can pitch ideas, and there's a lot of opportunities for me to be really creative within the role. And I think that's the best thing about my job, is that I get a bit of freedom. I think in terms of experiences I've had, I think there's a picture on screen now of me working some track and field events. So I think that one's down in Swansea. I've worked boxing events. I've worked at the Cardiff Arms Park. That's a shoot for Plaid Cymru with Eddie Butler, the rugby commentator, which got released I think earlier this year. And this is Wimbledon 2019. So the last Wimbledon that happened, obviously last year didn't happen because of the pandemic. I got to work at Wimbledon and be a part of the official film for Wimbledon. So that was amazing. And I think that the best part of my job is the experience I get to do, and I get to, you know, guide what I really want to do in my day to day as well. It's not like I'm being told you have to do this and you have to do that all the time. There's a lot of creative freedom and a lot of communication and a lot of conversations with my managers, saying, oh, actually I'd like to do this, or somebody's come to me with this idea, I think this is good, we can do this and this. So there's a lot of communicating with them, and I get to have a lot of freedom in it, basically.
And what we've all learned since the pandemic is that change, you know, is happening all the time. And especially since the pandemic, you know, things have gone virtual. The fact that we're actually on a virtual work experience now just shows that this sector, this demand for your type of work is integral to many companies, that, you know, we don't want to be left behind by not putting videos out there, you know, not advertising certain things online, getting information out there. So it just shows, you know, I know you've been involved in our virtual work, job fairs, which were a new thing really since the pandemic. So this sector's definitely growing, and an area that I expect a lot of young people would be interested in. So what advice would you give people watching today who really want to look into this area a little bit more?
I think the advice I would give is to just try and gain experience. Go make your own videos, go make the mistakes early on, because you'll make loads of mistakes and you'll mess loads of things up, and that's completely normal. You'll make something that's really bad, you know. Sometimes, you know, even recently I've made some stuff and I've gone, that's actually really not good. And admitting that and understanding that's so important, and making mistakes early on and going out and shooting things and making mistakes is so important. And also find what you like, you know, watch a lot. I'm telling the opposite of what your parents are going to tell you. Watch a lot of TV, watch a lot of Netflix, watch films, watch live media. You know, if you're interested in this space, understand the space that you're in. I think I love documentary, and I watch a lot of documentary, and I help make documentaries and stuff like that as well with friends. So doing those sort of things and understanding the experiences and understanding that experience is so important, but also go out there, make your own content, make your own mistakes, and, you know, it'll help you improve so much in the future.
And like you said, Charlie, you know, you can even do these things using the devices that you already have, you know, your phones, all this you have at your fingertips. So if you've got a passion, you know, go out there, try these things. The possibilities in this area are endless. Like you said, you get the opportunity to maybe travel, you know, you've got the documentaries, so many different sides to this area, from sport to news to music, you've even mentioned. So it sounds really, really exciting.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, there are plenty of opportunities to, you know, post-pandemic, hopefully these will restart for a lot of people to go and travel. I know people who've been all around the world, you know, being a videographer and being within the media and doing live broadcasts and, you know, making documentaries. You know, I'm friends with people who've been like everywhere. I've got a friend who's been in Iran like 2 weeks ago and was in Algeria as well. So they've they go to places you wouldn't expect them to go as well. But the experiences they get are amazing and they look awesome.
No, that sounds fab. Oh, thank you so much for your time today, Charlie. I'm just going to see if we've got any questions from anyone.
No questions, but just perhaps a quick opportunity to plug some of Charlie's work. Charlie's actually been the person responsible for filming all of the videos that we've got on the Wicked website for Virtual Work Experience. So if anybody wants to have a little look at what Charlie's managed to shoot and edit, then check out the videos that he's created for this program through the Wicked website. I know there's 2 available each day at the bottom of the page on Wicked, but there's also a little playlist that you can click on via the homepage, I think. So yeah, check them out, and there's a good insight into some of the stuff that Charlie's been up to over the last couple of months on there. So thank you, Charlie. Thank you for giving up a bit of time today. And for those of you who weren't in the first session, obviously feel free to check out the wicked.tv website, because there's lots of sort of accompanying activities that will hopefully help you on your journey. Today is looking at diagnostic tests, so specifically looking at you and your personality, and perhaps what sort of jobs would suit your personality. All right, so if you get a little bit of time, feel free to check that out and let us know what you think.